What's going on, everybody? Welcome to North Shore 9, presented by FanDuel. You're watching The Point. I'm your host, Jim Rosati. It's the Around the Horn style game show that we've been doing all off season. It seems like you guys have enjoyed it a lot. So I'm really excited to be hosting tonight's show. We've got some really big Pirates news to discuss tonight. So the Pirates finally made a big deal today. We'll get into that, what's going to be next for this team. But first, before we do that, let me introduce our star-studded panel tonight. So first off, in your top left corner from Roundtable Sports, he also writes for AP Sports, Forbes. He's been covering the Pirates for 35 years plus. John Perrotto. John, and also I forgot to mention the Point champion. Also, John Perrotto. How are you tonight?
Good. That's certainly the highlight of my career, and I feel that, coming back, I can only tarnish my reputation, but hopefully I can win again. But thanks for having me, Jim.
Thanks for coming tonight. And then also, I believe making his North Shore 9 debut. You know him from Twitter. He's also the editor at Yinzers Going Yard. Kody Duncan. Kody, welcome to The Point.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. Appreciate you inviting me on.
Love it. And then from The Athletic, frequent guest of ours, just saw you last week along with John down in winter meetings. Stephen Nesbitt, welcome to The Point.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm excited. I didn't know I was going up against JP though. This is tough.
Yeah, the pressure's on. And then we've got on the bottom right corner from North Shore 9, he's the voice of the people, Dougie Fresh. Doug, how are you doing tonight?
I'm outstanding. They say you're known by the company you keep, and I'm keeping pretty good company tonight. So, I can only look good by, by being with these guys. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, let's get into it just to kind of explain the rules to the viewers. Again, we've got two topics we're going to talk about tonight. I think you can probably guess what at least one of those topics is, but we've got two topics to discuss. Everybody's going to get the chance to, give their take on that topic. We'll also then have a follow-up to that. So everybody will have a chance to really say their piece. At the end of the show, you're all going to get, 60 seconds or so to vote on the winner of tonight's episode. The winner is there's no rules to this. So it's whoever you want it to be. It's completely subjective. There's no objectivity. So you get to vote on whoever you like the most as in terms of tonight's show. So that poll will show up on YouTube at the end of the show. So if you're watching this on your TV, if you're watching this on your PlayStation or whatever, make sure you have a phone or a computer open at the end of the show so you can vote on who you want to win. The winner of the show gets absolutely nothing except John. You have the chance to be a two-time winner here. It's a big deal.
It changed my life a few weeks ago when I won. Everywhere I go, people go, "You were a winner on The Point."
There you go. That's it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It is.
Let's start off with just a quick icebreaker. All right. College football playoff starts tonight. Oklahoma, Alabama. I think they're kicking off right now. My question to you guys, who's going to win the college football playoff this year? John, let's start with you.
I think Indiana. I think it's their year. They're not a fluke. They beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, and to me, that stamps them. I think they're the best team in the country, and I like any coach that gets hired and they ask him if he can win, and he says, "Google me, and you'll see I win." So good for or Kurt Signetti.
Yeah, he's definitely got confidence. All right, the Hoosiers. Kody, what about you? Who's winning?
I think it's only right if I say Ohio State just because I live in Ohio now. So I'm going to just go with Ohio State. They lost to Indiana, but I think it was kind of fluky. And even though I'm a Penn State fan personally, I think Ohio State's going to win it all.
All right, so two Big Ten answers. Steven, who we got?
I would love to see the Hoosiers finally win. I live in New Hampshire, and there's one dad at school. He wears an Indiana shirt like all the time. This is his moment. Like finally, he has his moment that isn't in like March. So I'd be stoked for him. And some of my closest friends are Hoosier grads as well. But my wife went to Georgia and is an alum, and so I'm gonna go with the Dogs.
Got to go with that. Yeah, that's pretty easy choice there. Doug, how about you?
Well, as some of our viewers know, I am living in the Birmingham, Alabama area. There are people upstairs in my house right now preparing for tonight's game, and I am hoping that they end up miserable tonight. I don't want Alabama to win ever in anything ever. I'm a Penn State fan like Kody, and ever since I think it was the '78 Sugar Bowl, the goal line stand, all that sort of stuff, I've hated Alabama. I'm cheering for Indiana. To me, that's the best story. Kody, I think, might have a point, though, that was a good loss for Ohio State, sort of, maybe snapped them out of their we're invincible streak, and they may be looking, may have a little chip on their shoulder. But I'm cheering for Indiana.
All right. I don't know who I'm going. I think I'm cheering for Indiana as well, but I'm with Kody. I think Ohio State's going to win. That's my pick. So, all right. Well, let's get to what everyone is here to talk about. The Pirates swung a blockbuster today. 3-team deal coming to the Pirates. Brandon Lowe, Jake Mangum, Mason Montgomery going to Houston. Mike Burrows going to Tampa Bay from Houston. A couple of prospects. So my question for you guys, with the Pirates landing these 3, what are your immediate reactions to this deal? And does this move the needle for you at all heading into the 2026 season? I'm going to start with John, since you've been on the show before. John, immediate reactions to this trade and what it means for 2026.
Immediate reaction is the Pirates actually get a player people have heard of in Brandon Lowe. So that's a shocker in itself. A guy who's a 2-time All-Star and was an All-Star just this past season. I like the trade. The Pirates need a power hitter, especially a left-hander in PNC Park. I like the fact that they also got something else back instead of just a 1-year rental and Lowe. I think Mason Montgomery, you look at his strikeout numbers this year to innings pitched, and 63 strikeouts in 40 innings is pretty impressive. And Jake Mangum, I don't know, a 29-year-old switch-hitting outfielder, if he's a difference maker, but he did steal 27 bases this year, and I do think that he is a plus defender at all 3 positions, so he's certainly a useful piece. But I will qualify by saying Lowe is certainly a 1-year move. There's no guarantee he would be back. And if they're trading for guys with 1 year left on their contract, then they need to make more moves and try to win now instead of just adding one player in a win now mode.
I agree. Kody, same question to you.
Yeah, like I said on Twitter earlier today, I think it could help persuade some potential bigger free agents to come here. Just it shows that the Pirates are actually committed to 2026. But I'll start off with Lowe. He gives a lot more power into the lineup, which is obviously needed. And then, you'll like Jake Mangum as long as you look at his as long as you don't look at his Savant page. But if you look at his MLB page and you see that he has a 296 batting average, 330 on base percentage, and then also he's friends with Connor Griffin, so you can't be mad about that. So I like him with the addition. I also you'll like Mason Montgomery as long as you only look at his Salvant page. Because obviously his numbers were really bad with Tampa Bay, but he's 97th percentile and with fastball velocity, 97th percentile and whip percentage. So he's got a lot of good things going for him, and he's a lefty, so you can't be mad about that. So I think the one thing that before I end this, I think the reason why the Astros wanted Mike Burrows so bad was back in June, he actually pitched 5 1/3 innings against them, gave up 0 runs, striked out 6, and maybe that convinced them that they wanted him so bad.
Yeah, Astros did give up a lot in this trade. That's something we're not even really going to discuss, but they gave up 2 pretty big prospects. Steven, what's your take on this?
My initial reaction was I was delighted this was a 3-team trade. It seemed the Pirates were circling Brandon Lowe for a week and a half. We talked about it at the winter meetings that seemed like a really natural fit if they couldn't get a Jorge Polanco. So it made all the sense in the world, but yet to see the way it came together says a lot, right, about what each team is looking for. They couldn't just get it done a 1-for-1. Burrows to Tampa, what's wrong with that? Well, it wasn't quite right for the Rays. They have to get Houston involved. Houston, we like these two guys. You want a starting pitcher. Like from a national perspective, it's really fascinating to see how these things come together. And then when I got down to the return for the Pirates, giving up Burrows is a lot, right? Young, controllable starting pitchers should be very valuable. And I think we're treated as such in this case with Burrows. The Pirates have liked him for a long time. This guy was going to be up before Tommy John. He had it in 2023. Had heard great things about him for years and years. They thought very highly of him, and they've been asked about him every single opportunity for the last couple of years in trade talks. And they held on to him until this moment. I don't mind moving him. I think starting pitchers are extremely fragile. You should cash in at some point on the value of some of these guys. And so I don't mind them moving on when you are returning a guy in Brandon Lowe who you can count on for 30-ish homers. His batting profile. It's not uncomplicated. It's a low average, decent on base, high power. I don't know where they plan to play him yet, and that's a big part of how the pieces all will fit together here. But I think there's a way to do it. And against right-handed pitchers, think about this lineup now compared to where it was. Where a year ago they're only plus hitters against lefties or against right-handed hitters pitching. Were Spencer Horwitz and O'Neal Cruz. Now you add on top of that Brian Reynolds, you assume will be better. You get Mangum, who was much better against righties than lefties, and you get Brandon Lowe, who really crushes right-handers. I think this is a big step for them. And Mangum, as sort of was mentioned, I referred to him in my story today as Luis Arraez light. Like there's all the problems there, and there's a reason that Luis Arraez isn't getting long-term deals in this modern era, and yet he's a rangy, switch-hitting, extremely fast Luis Arraez light, right? There's so many things this guy can do for your team where he's your fourth outfielder. I think that's a great outcome for them.
All right. Dougie Fresh, take us home.
Hey, kind of echoing what all the guys have said. I love what John said. We know this guy's name. We know who he is. He's not coming off injury. He's not coming off 3 down seasons after having one good season 4 years ago or something to that effect. I'll be interesting to see how they play him. I hope this means they're not just giving Nick Gonzalez the job, that, he has to fight for it and earn it. I like that aspect of it. My heart is heavy. I really like Burrows. I think, Jim, you did a short about how effective Burrows was in the second part of the season. He got better as the season went along. And a smart team like the Houston Astros wanted him. So that also tells me, what I was seeing, what I was thinking was probably true. I think he's, 3 years from now, especially if we don't re-sign Lau, we're going to be looking at this going, ooh, was it worth it? Especially, as John said, if the Pirates don't sort of double down. It's a nice move. It moves the needle slightly. They obviously need to do more. The Pirates need to add 4 hitters and get bounce backs from 3 other hitters. So there's a ways to go, but this is the biggest move we've made probably since the Chris Archer trade. It's the biggest move in the Carrington era. And again, it's a guy who we all believe that we can pencil in for 30 home runs, not hoping that maybe can he bounce back, will he? No, this guy can do it. He's an all-star this past season. I'm going to miss Burrows. I'm excited about Magnum. He's already endeared himself to Pirates fans with that tweet. Let's go. He's ready to get here. And if nothing else, I'm interested in seeing new guys fail as the 4th outfielder, the 3rd outfielder. I'm tired of watching Bay and Sawinski bring in Magnum, bring in the password, bring in some of these other guys and see what they can do.
All right. Back to you, John. So, John, you said you like the trade. You agree that they needed left-handed power, but you also said they still need to make more moves, obviously. So where does this, put the Pirates right now? Is this like just a move that sort of raises the floor a little bit, just kind of a solid supporting piece, or do they still need to add like more impact hitters to this lineup?
I think they need to add at least one more impact hitter. I mean, you look at the left side of the infield, and I'm going to assume, going off their track record of developing players, that Connor Griffin will not be in the opening day lineup, though I think you can certainly make a strong case that he should be in the opening day lineup. I'm not sold on Jared Triolo as an everyday third baseman, and I really think now I look at this And again, a lot of it we don't know yet where they're going to play Lau. We're having a 9:30 conference call tomorrow morning with Ben Charrington, and it's going to clear up a lot of this trade. I'm curious, there's been some talk, rumors he may be going to left field. So I think whatever they need, either an outfielder or a third baseman or one of each, they may not get somebody as impactful as Lau, but they certainly need to get good, solid major league hitters. But you can't have 4, 5, 6 holes in their lineup like they did last year. And especially this signals to me, as I said in the first round, they're going for it now. You don't trade for a 31-year-old guy who's a free agent at the end of the year if you're not trying to win this year. And if you're trying to win this year, you still can't win with the team as it's currently constituted.
Kody, you mentioned how this might be able to sell bigger name free agents that, there's upside in Pittsburgh, essentially. But is like this trade, is it really enough to kind of sway people to Pittsburgh? Let me just kind of expand on your thoughts there.
I mean, it could. It depends on, what those free agents are looking for. Obviously, money talks. So, I mean, there's a few options that I think are, are available for the Pirates, and I feel like they could easily get them if the price is right for them. And Kazuma Okamoto is one. Suarez, Munetaka Murakami. I mean, I know he has a lot of issues, but he could definitely be an impactful bat for this team, specifically for DH. But yeah, I think it should open some eyes to some free agents because, obviously they tried to sign at least Kyle Schwarber. I think they offered 4 years, $125 million. I believe is what it was. So that might have showed some of the free agents that, hey, maybe they are trying to spend some money this year and compete for 2026. But at least now this trade shows, okay, they are going for it in 2026 because Brandon Lowe he's only here for 1 year. So they gave up a young pitching prospect, essentially a guy that could potentially make, the rotation for a guy for 1 year. Now they obviously got, Mangum and Montgomery as well with this trade, but for the most part, the main piece was Lau, and we're only going to have him for a year. So that means that should tell a lot of these free agents like, hey, they're serious. They're going for it. They might try to make the playoffs in 2026. So it could. I hope that Ben Charrington isn't finished. I don't think he is. I don't think they would do this trade if they weren't going to add more to this team. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay. Steven, you talked about how giving up Mike Burrows, I mean, it's a valuable, controllable asset. Are you concerned that, now that the Pirates have given up 2 starting pitchers from their major league rotation, have they taken too much from that strength that they had, or was this just a necessary thing that needed to be done because of the lack of offense?
I mean, have they taken too much? Yes, as in they'll need to backfill with depth. That was something that Ben Charrington said in Orlando, was that if they traded another starter, it was going to be for an immediate lineup upgrade, which this is, and he was going to need to backfill. There are just so many capable number 4, number 5 starters out there you can get on a 1-year deal, $10 million or something if you want to really splash. If you want a lefty, go get a reunion with one of the many former Pirates pitchers out there. Go get a Heaney, a Tyler Anderson, a Jose Quintana. So there are options out there. There are righties as well. I think they're just going to look for someone who's pretty reliable, not someone who's going to start a playoff game if you're dreaming. And so, yes, you are cutting into the depth, but that's why the depth is there. You are naturally going to have to use a lot of starting pitching. And the Pirates have not shown over the years that they are turning every single one of these guys into Paul Skeens. And so I don't need to think you need to treat them all as if they are Paul Skeens and Jared Jones. So at some point you do need to trade. They clearly are at a massive deficit in the talent in that lineup. And the only way to get there is to spend a bunch of money in free agency or to spend in prospect capital. And their appetite for a long time, but especially right now, is more for, okay, we're gonna spend some of this prospect capital, and then ideally they also spend the money that Bob Nutting is apparently more willing to spend this offseason to actually get one of these guys, because this does free up a decent chunk, right? You only use the math I did today anyway. Is Jorge Polanco cost the Mets $20 million this year in salary. The Pirates didn't like that how high that number went, so they bowed out of that. Every single one of their deals this offseason adds up. The pluses and minuses adds up to $20 million. So they've done all this work for the cost of Jorge Polanco. Now, what do you do with all the rest? You clearly were willing to spend it somewhere, and why not go get one of these bats to make third base better, for example? So I think you have to do both in their case: trade from the pitching and go spend some money.
Doug, you mentioned the Chris Archer trade. You didn't even give anybody a warning, so hopefully the PTSD wasn't too bad out there. But I agree with you. This is probably the biggest buy now move the Pirates have made since that trade. That one, looking back on it, obviously didn't go so well. Where's the line for you here? Because you talked about how this could be a trade you look at 4 or 5 years from now and say that didn't go too well. What do the Pirates need to do in 2026? What does Brandon Lowe have to do in 2026 to make this make you feel happy about this 4 or 5 years from now?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing for this to make me happy 4 or 5 years now is what we've all been talking about, is they have to continue to add. Brandon Lowe's a great addition. I'm very excited to have him on the team, but he's not enough. I mean, Schwarber alone was not going to be enough, right? We need to add. I mean, we need to go get an Eugenio Suarez or maybe another out. Maybe overpay and overextend ourselves for a Kody Bellinger. The Pirates are probably – adding Lau gives us a little more credibility, but it's still going to, as Kody said, money talks. You're going to have to spend, and you want to send the message that you're serious. So maybe you can get some of these other guys who aren't as expensive. So pony up. Let's go all in. You've got the greatest pitcher in the world. What's going to make me happy 4 or 5 years from now is the same thing that make me happy today. Add another 30 home run hitter, sign again a good veteran pitcher, because innings will be at a premium now. I was already concerned about covering innings, and now we've traded two pitchers. So, yeah, I mean, this is good news, I guess, for Hunter Barco, right? Good news for Jared Jones. Some of these guys that you weren't so sure how they were going to be used this year when in particular with Jones when he's back. But yeah, let's if we're going all in on a 1 year deal with 1 year of this guy, let's add to it. The National League Central is right there. The Pirates have never won the National League Central. Come on, this is the year. This is the time.
All right. So that's it for topic 1. Good answers by everyone. I'm pretty, you got me all pumped up. You guys got me pumped up. All right. Topic 2. I think we can all agree that the Pirates probably need to do more. I was looking on FanDuel. So prior to today, the Pirates were plus 12,000 to win the National League. After today, plus 10,000. So still very unlikely. They went from 13th most likely to win the league to now tied for 12th. So there was a slight uptick there, but I think we can all agree they need to do more. So speaking to that, 2 players posted from Japan: Munetaka Murakami, Kazuma Okamoto. Murakami's deadline to sign with a major league team is this coming Monday at 5 p.m. Okamoto's got a little bit more time. January 4th is his deadline. With the upcoming deadline for Murakami, I want to know, should the Pirates be in on one of these guys? Should they be in on both of these guys? Should they pass because there's some red flags and maybe go after some other people? So I want to know your thoughts on these 2 Japanese hitters coming over from NPB. Kody, I know you've been pretty vocal on both of these guys on Twitter, so I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, honestly, I think both of them make sense. As I mentioned earlier, excuse me, Murakami could play primarily DH for us. We don't have anyone for designated hitter right now, so I think he's worth the risk. If we sign this guy, there's nobody that I can remember, at least from my time of being alive, and now I'm not too old, but no one that has this kind of power that he has. In-game power. I mean, he's the MPB record holder for most home runs in a season for a Japanese-born player at 56. I mean, the best that I've ever seen was Pedro Alvarez, maybe Josh Bell. Those are the two guys that come into mind. So he's worth the risk. We see enough swing and miss. Okay, I can handle seeing some people strike out. I see O'Neal Cruz. I see all the guys that we've signed the past 6 years that have struck out. I can handle that if you can put the ball over the fence, and this guy can do that. So give him a chance. He's not going to cost as much as people think. I think personally, he might look for a prove it deal. Sign maybe 2-3 years. Maybe 16 million, I believe. ESPN said I can't remember who said it, but predicted that he would get maybe 5 years, 80 million, which is 16 million AAV. So something maybe to that, maybe a little bit less years. I don't know, but I would love to have him take the risk. We haven't taken risks on any players in the past 10 years since the Archer trade. We haven't taken a risk. Now, obviously, that wasn't a good trade, but this, I think, is worth the risk. And when it comes to Okamoto, like I said, I think both of them would be perfect. Now, I don't think it's going to happen, but you could sign him, and he actually is a reliable third base option. And he would probably be cheaper than Suarez. So you'd get him. He can play the position, and he's got a lot of pop in his bat too. He's a little bit older. I think he's 29, so he's going to be, like I said, cheaper than probably Murakami, but he's definitely going to be cheaper than Suarez, I think. And I think he has a better glove than Suarez as well. And he's a right-handed hitter as well, and I think we're actually leaning more right now in our lineup with we're kind of lefty heavy. So I wouldn't mind having him to join this team as well. So either of those guys, I would love to have both, but either of them would be perfect for this team.
All right. John, how about you?
I think Murakami is going to be out of the Pirates' price range. That's just my guess. I think somebody's going to come in and give him a 9-figure contract over the weekend. Okamoto, I like. I think he is within the Pirates' range for sure. I would love to see them get Murakami. I think he would be a big boost. The one I'm a little surprised that they didn't go after a little harder was the third baseman from Korea, Sung-Min Song, who signed with San Diego today for $13 million for 3 years. He seemed like a really good fit at a good price point and somebody who did really well in the KBO. And a lot of people say, now this is on the field only, not off the field, that he reminded a lot of scouts of Jung-Ho Kang. And before Jung-Ho ran into all his off-the-field problems, he had 2 really good years with the Pirates. And if this player was the same caliber, he would really help the Pirates. But San Diego swooped in and grabbed him.
They did. Steven, same question to you. Okamoto, Murakami. Good fit. Should they go after these guys?
I think they certainly should. There's an element here of do these guys want to come to Pittsburgh that Ben Charrington talked about it in Orlando is like part of the conversation with like Japanese players. The Pirates haven't had much experience scouting and bringing them over. Is you have to also sort of educate guys on where is Pittsburgh? What is the tradition here? What is Pirates baseball like? That might not be so natural for guys who even have followed Major League Baseball decently well over the years. And so I think as far as the fit go, 100%. I am not a believer in their current situation on the infield. I think it's kind of a disaster. We are penciling people in right now that are not necessarily likely to be on the opening day roster. If you actually look at the opening day roster, throw a right-hander out there, you're going to it's let's just say Horwitz at first base, Lowe at second. Lau, it could be the other way around. Shortstop, Nick Gonzalez. I don't feel good about that. Third base, Jared Trillo. I don't feel good about that. That's a bad left side of the infield. And so if you're going to operate this offseason as if you were to be taken seriously as a National League contender, you need a new third baseman. You go away from Ke'Bryan Hayes at the trade deadline. You admit a mistake there. That says you have a plan going forward, and I've not seen that plan so far. Ben Charrington has said a lot of things this offseason that have come true, the things he's looking for. I spelled it out in the stories today about you kind of see this move coming because all the things he said he was looking for were in this move. What he hasn't spoken, I don't think very openly about is whether they do plan to make a significant addition at third base. These 3 guys that have been mentioned including Eugenio Suarez, are considerable upgrades, all of them, over their current situation. You should be in on all of these guys, and they are very different flavors of expensive. And the Pirates, they will all be multi-year deals. Again, it's been 9 years since they signed one in a free agent capacity. They're all going to be easily beyond the Francisco Liriano $39 million record for a free agent deal for the Pirates. This will be uncharted territory, and yet you have a lefty with massive power, incredible upside in Murakami. Yes, if you're willing to go to 8 years and 100 whatever million, or then go for it. Be my guest. I think that would be an incredible ad and something that really gets the baseball world's attention. I don't see it happening, like John said. Okamoto, I think, would be great for a team that now also could use some righty pop. I think. I think I'd like to see what he provides this team. I think he can stay at third base, but both of those two guys may end up at first base long term, which is another risk when you're adding too many first base types. And Suarez he's a walking like 3 WAR, but he's going to turn it in a way that you start to get a little freaked out about this lineup. It is a lineup that last year struck out all the time, low batting average, decent walk rate, which sounds like the modern day slugger, except they didn't hit any homers. They were 31 homers away from the next worst team in the majors. It was atrocious. And so now you're pivoting to a team that does have the power, right? You just added the password, you added Lowe, you have this power, but you're still having big strikeout issues to everybody, not Mangum. And so if you add a Suarez, like, you're really enhancing that issue. You're saying we're totally okay with strikeouts, but it's going to be an ugly way to get a bunch of runs. But I think it will result in a lot more runs than they currently are getting.
Okay. Doug, same question to you. Murakami, Okamoto.
I'd be very excited and very pleased, and would, kudos to Ben Cherington if he signed either one of them. I am a little concerned that the Pirates would not do well at onboarding either, a Japanese, player coming over from the Japanese leagues. It's, we don't do a lot of stuff well. and that's a new thing. I'm just not sure that they, these guys come with some, like you said, some red flags, and I just don't know if the Pirates are the right organization to just have them smoothly transition into MLB. But again, if they were to take a swing like this, I'd be thrilled. I mean, sometimes you're going to make a move like this, and it's not going to work, but you have to applaud the move, right? I mean, all the signs say, do something like this. Again, Suarez, he has his flaws. Bo Bichette, maybe, acquire him, move him to third. They have to do something, right? You cannot. I don't want to see either Triolo or Gonzalez opening the season, at short and third, let alone just third. Hopefully Griffin will be up soon, but the Pirates, you just never know how they're going to handle something like that. It'd be great if they extended him and just brought him up on opening day and didn't worry about all the, service time issues, that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, again, I would celebrate. I would applaud Ben Cherington for signing either one of those guys. But I would certainly be like, okay, I hope they can make this work,
John, so you think Murakami's out of the price range, which I think I probably agree with you. Would you be more comfortable with Murakami, Okamoto, or would you rather them kind of put all their chips into Eugenio Suarez?
Eugenio Suarez scares me. He's getting up there in years, and at some point his career is going to crash. And his history has it, when players like that come to Pittsburgh, their careers usually crash right away. And I just don't see it. I mean, if you got him on a 1-year deal, but you're not going to get him on a 1-year deal, you're going to have to go probably 3 years, maybe even 4. And even if he did produce this upcoming year, you're going to have to pay him a lot of money to potentially be a very unproductive player at the end of the contract. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of making that move. I just think if he were a few years younger, yes, but not at his age.
Kody, you're clearly comfortable, I guess, taking the risks that come with a Murakami. Do you think the Pirates are in a position where they can offer and devote that type of money to a guy that has the risk of just striking out entirely way too much and failing completely?
I mean, if you're going with just Murakami, I think it depends on how many years he's looking for. Because if he's looking for 7-8 years, which he's probably looking for, and that would probably be a 9-figure deal, which I just don't think teams are going to be offering that because of how much risk he has. He has to, like I said, he has to prove it in Major League Baseball right now, and that's why I don't think he's going to get that deal. If he's looking for 7-8 years, then I actually wouldn't want to have him on this team. But if he's looking for like a 3-year deal, 2, 3, maybe 4 years, I'd be more than willing to take on that risk, because I don't think it's a lot of money, and there's not going to be a lot of dead money involved with that, because you're only going to have him for, a handful of years. And then maybe you can add a club option to that 4th year, or maybe a player option to the 4th year to maybe, convince him to come here.
Yeah. Steven, you mentioned like third base has to be addressed like in order to be taken seriously. If you were Ben Cherington, are you going more the free agency route here with these 3 guys that we're talking about? Or are you pivoting to the trade market, specifically like the NL East? Vientos appears to be available from the Mets. You could maybe get like a Ronnie Mauricio or something like that from them, or like an Alec Boehm from the Phillies. Like, would you be more willing to go after those types of guys or these free agents?
No, I really don't have any interest in the trade market here. Yeah, those guys are all fine. They could be good, but think of yourself as the general manager. Are you spending your money or the owner's money right now? Your money is prospects, right? And so you already done that. You just traded away a pitcher you really liked to get 3 guys that can help you win this year. You just traded away another pitcher who could have helped you this year for a guy who's going to maybe help you next year, maybe platoon. Vieto, it's like you've done your spending. I think it's time for the owner to do his spending. I'm not trying to make a big statement here. I'm just saying, like, you were supposed to be getting a big surplus of cash. You freed up cash at the trade deadline to be able to make these moves, and you haven't done it. So where's the money going to go now is my question. You're not going to sign a starting pitcher. That's the most expensive thing out there. I mean, you're not going to sign a big one. You'll sign a 1-year deal. There is money supposedly to be spent, and this the only obvious spot I see, unless you want to go get a corner outfielder or something. They are starting to have a lot of corner outfielder and first base types who can maybe play second base. I see an answer coming at shortstop. That's wonderfully of Connor Griffin. It's going to be a weak position for a while because there's no way he hits like he will in his prime this year. He's so young. He's so inexperienced at the upper levels of the minors. So go get somebody. So for me, like, the guy I'd go get is Okamoto. I think it's going to be a deal that's reasonable. You're paying him, 4 years, $20 million a year or something? Is that a big deal for the Pirates? Yes. I think there's huge upside for him, just like there was huge upside when they went and got Jung Ho Kang. We didn't know the Korean market quite as well back then. And the Pirates are getting much more involved in Korea and Japan and the whole Pacific Rim here. Murakami is a huge contract. And so even if he doesn't get the long contract that he wants, I would guess he's still going to sign a shorter contract for a big AAV in the coming days. Rather than go back and no longer be a free agent available to major league teams. And so any of these guys are an improvement. If you can get Suarez on a 2-year deal, that'd be great. But I think John's right. It's definitely going to be at 3 years, I would imagine, if not more. And that's a scary proposition for a guy who already is 6th in the majors in strikeout rate. And the only thing he really provides is plus power. Third base, he was -6 outs above average last year. He's a worsening third baseman that you'd be relying on to just give you power. And there's value to that. I would rather take the high upside of one of these younger guys who I don't know if they can play third base all that well. They could probably play it a couple days of the week at least for a while. But there's some sort of untapped potential, and we don't know quite how the hitting profile is going to look in the majors. So I think they must do something, but they so far haven't said that at third base.
Doug, you brought up Jared Triolo's name. Is there any world where this offseason could be considered a success with Jared Triolo as opening day third baseman?
I mean, sure. If you go get a corner outfielder that can hit 30 home runs, and you start the season with Connor Griffin, and he wins Rookie of the Year, I mean, we know what Jared Triolo is. He's an outstanding fielder, and he'll hit in the last 2 months of the season. I don't know that we're going to get any more than that. I mean, his best role would be backing up, Murakami, one of these other, third baseman that they signed, and not just backing him up, but maybe coming in as a defensive replacement, that sort of thing. I want Jared Triolo on this team. He is a fine 25th or 26th man on the roster. If he's the opening day third baseman, and say Brandon Lowe, your left fielder, and everything else is as is, you're not going to win. Paul Skeens is great, but he can't pitch a shutout every game, and he can't pitch every day. So yeah, we need, again, I don't care where it is. I mean, I don't care. Go get Ketel Marte. It doesn't matter necessarily what position it is, but I think I agree with Steven. Like, we have traded pretty much all the pitching we can trade at this point. So yeah, they got to spend some money, and they got to get somebody, and it's got to be an upgrade, and it's got to be similar to Lau in that it's a guy coming off a good year. He's coming off a series of good years, and that we know comfortably that we can pencil in 30 home runs and 80 to 100 plus RBIs. Yeah, I mean, there's ways that Jared Triolo starting third base can work, but we're a ways away from that happening at this point.
All right. Well, that's the show. So you guys did a great job. This is gonna be a tough choice, I think, for our viewers. I'm curious to see how this voting goes. Before I post the poll, though, I want to give each of you just like 15 seconds just to wrap up your thoughts for the entire evening. So, John, go ahead. Like, just your overall thoughts of today and the offseason so far.
Well, I thought it certainly livened the offseason up, with all due respect to our friend, the password. I like Brandon Lowe. I know he's a good quote, which helps in my profession. And I think he's going to help. He's in a walk year, and he's a pull hitter in a ballpark that rewards left-handed pull hitters. So I like the move. I do. And I like that they got a couple of other guys that can help too, instead of just one player.
Kody, how about you? Bring us home.
Yeah, this has been the most exciting offseason that we've had in a decade. So I hope it continues. I hope we sign another guy in the next week or so and keep it going, because it's pretty exciting times.
Steven.
Most exciting offseason since John Jaso signing, I think. Yeah, I mean, this is a team that I think made a really smart move today, that I still think is an impact hitter away from being the platoony, position flexible team they want. You can do that, and I think they have pieces to do that, and there are ways to go get the guy who can just mash lefties. But you need one more impact bat, I think, and then you can really be taken seriously.
Dougie, fresh. End it for us.
Yeah, I mean, this has been fun. We were getting a little nervous. It was quiet. The Pirates have been talking. We're going to spend more. We're shopping at different parts of the store. All that sort of stuff. We want to win now. We're competing for the playoffs, and then kind of nothing. And then you get Lau, and you're like, okay, they're serious. And this means they're probably working on other stuff too. It just kind of buoys my confidence a little bit that they're not done, that they are serious about trying to compete and spend. And yeah, there's lots of opportunities. There's lots of ways they can still improve this team. So, hopefully on Monday, we're talking about the signing, of a third baseman or something.
Love it. All right. The poll is posted in the live chat. So if you're watching this, if you're on your phone or your computer, go into the live chat, vote for the winner, whoever you think did the best tonight. Like I said, it's completely subjective. There are no guidelines. There are no rules. Just pick your favorite. If you're watching on your TV and you don't have access to the live chat, find access to the live chat. Just pull it up on your phone, pull it up on your laptop, whatever it is. So I'm going to give you all, a few seconds to do that right now. While you're doing that, let me just shout out a couple things. Like the video if you haven't already. You've been watching for 44 minutes now. If you haven't hit the like button, what's your problem? Hit the like button. Subscribe to the page if you haven't. Hit the little bell next to the subscribe button, so that way you get notified anytime we go live or a video drops. Also, tomorrow we plan on having a special kind of holiday show. Nathan is going to be hosting it. and we're going to be drafting an all-time Pirates team. So look for that tomorrow. That'll be tomorrow evening. We'll send out some more information on that. But yeah, I want to thank all four of you. You guys were awesome tonight. Just real quick around the horde, I just want to, before we go over the poll results, where can everybody find your stuff? John?
I'm at Pirates Roundtable sports.com, at least this week. It changes like every 2 weeks, but that's where I'm at now. And also Forbes.com with things too. And or I come over to your house and I'll just read you my stories too if you want me to.
There you go. That would work. If you want to come down to Louisville, John.
Okay. When do you want me?
How about the Pitt game? You got to cover the Pitt basketball.
There you go. That'd be cool.
There you go. Cody, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Yinzers Going Yard. It's a new blog site that we made. Two former rum bunter guys. We built it. So it's pretty new, but we started it up and it's doing good so far. And then obviously you can find me on Twitter if you can tolerate my tweets.
Steven, how about you?
You can find my writing at theathletic.com/MLB, and I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky.
Doug, where do the people find you?
Find me right here at North Shore 9. Now, I want John to come to my house and read me some of his stories, but I think more importantly, I want him to go to Cody's house and talk to him about Willie Stargell and John Milner. Kody has not seen a lot of good Pirate power. I mean, you can talk to him about Jason Thompson for crying out loud. And it'd be, well, you are bereft. So, you young guys, I don't see how you do it. John and I, it's easy. We cuddle up with the 71, the 79 teams. We feel good.
I only get to see. I only get to see Dustin Fowler. Whoever remembers that guy.
Hey, opening day center fielder, right? I think at one point. All right, I am ending the poll. And our winner today. It was close. It was really close. Everybody was really close. But tonight's winner with 34% of the vote, Stephen Nesbitt. Stephen, congratulations on your first victory.
I didn't have that. Thank you so much. Since the poll is closed, I saw Matt in the comments said Lur's prediction before you go, and I've got Lions by 1 million. I don't know about you guys.
Ooh, all right, yeah, it could. I mean, it could happen. It could happen.
I'm from Michigan.
Yeah,
I'm biased.
All right, guys. Appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate all you guys listening to this after the fact. Thank you again to all four of you for taking your time out of a Friday night. We'll be back tomorrow with some more stuff. Keep following us all off season long. We've got plenty of content for you. But yeah, outside that, that's all I got for you. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucs.